Hello and welcome to PlayStation Access, and welcome to another big look at the year ahead. With the launch of PlayStation 5 2020 is already set to be a huge year, but in this video our focus is on the games themselves, and with that in mind, here's our list of 20 PlayStation games you absolutely must play in 2020 and beyond. First up, The Last of Us Part 2, in which Ellie takes centre stage as the most compelling story on PlayStation continues. Every Naughty Dog game is a big occasion. The studio always delivers technical brilliance, complex characters, and movie-quality performances, but as The Last of Us fans, having gone hands-on with next year's follow-up has left us assured and impatient. Part 2 is a sophisticated evolution of the gameplay that made the first game era-defining, with elegant improvements to movement and animation that filter into traversal and combat, and in turn into the constant tension that runs through the game's world. The Last of Us Part 2 is set for release on May the 29th, 2020.
Another big PlayStation exclusive on the way in 2020 is Sucker Punch's Ghost of Tsushima. Sucker Punch have big PlayStation history, with a back catalogue that includes Sly Cooper and Infamous, but this is something very different. A cinematic revenge story set in a heavily researched recreation of 13th century Japan. An open world recreation at that. The game is about realising the fantasy of becoming a samurai in a gloriously detailed Japan full of bow trees and shimmering grass, with hero Jin Sakai learning a new ghost fighting style to make amends for the massacre of his people.
Also elegant, but in a less obvious way, is crunching sequel Doom Eternal. To the untrained eye, this might just seem like more Doom, but there's something else going on here. While 2016's reboot worked hard to capture the flow and feel of the original Doom in a modern FPS, Doom Eternal builds on the best bits of its predecessor to come up with something faster and fresher. It's still Doom, but Eternal leans into the resource-stripping combat that sees armor, ammo, and health pop from demonic enemies like golden coins, encouraging players into aggressive, spectacular showdowns that make the most of the game's complex, destructive arsenal. Doom Eternal is set for release on March the 20th, 2020.
The original Dying Light was an underrated gem that landed big with players, which has made Dying Light 2 one of the most anticipated games of 2020. This time we have a new protagonist in Aidan Caldwell, who, in case you were worried, still throws himself about using parkour, with the game's updated, expanded movement system now including a paraglider alongside slides, wall runs, and the grappling hook. Our new location is the city, 4 times larger than the original sizable map, but the real change is in how Aidan can affect the open world. Siding with or against different factions and carrying out objectives in certain ways will change not just the story, but the physical state of different parts of the city, giving your decisions weight and also giving you lots of reasons to replay.
Neo was a big favourite here at Access, a blend of Soulsborne progression and exploration, with developer Team Ninja's trademark combat full of intricacies and challenges. Neo 2 gives us even more, a deeper RPG thanks to custom character building and new yokai powers layered on top of the game's existing and already sophisticated weapons and abilities system. There are also new weapons, new enemies, and of course new boss battles, with a horde of ghoulish, flamboyant creatures waiting to be discovered once the game is released on March 13th, 2020.
With the big screen story now concluded, LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga applies the LEGO formula to all 9 episodes in an all-new, all-encompassing adventure. It looks amazing! A hub world makes all 9 films accessible at any time, and each one features planets and characters from that film. It's like a giant, comprehensive toy box of all things Star Wars, which is exactly as it should be.
You heard it here first. We're going out on a limb and saying that we think Cyberpunk 2077 might be pretty good. There's the incredible pedigree of Studio CD Projekt Red, the creators of Access Forever favourite The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and there's the source material, the pioneering tabletop RPG by Mike Pondsmith, which provides the rich, vivid world of Night City. We've seen it running twice, and it looks like CD Projekt has pulled off something incredible, with a game capturing the seedy tech noir world, packed with meaningful choices and variation that still looks and performs beautifully. Bring on April 2020.
With other superheroes proving it's absolutely possible to deliver brilliant comic book video games, and the Avengers themselves standing atop popular culture like an armoured Hulk, Marvel's Avengers makes total sense. The story makes sense too, set in a timeline where the unveiling of a second Avengers HQ has gone terribly, earth-scorchingly wrong. We're now 5 years in the future with superheroes outlawed and Kamala Khan trying to pull the team back together and uncover a possible conspiracy. What that translates into are two basic types of mission. Hero missions showcasing specific characters and their abilities, which form the single-player campaign, and Warzone missions, which can be played and replayed with up to 4 players total if you go online. You can reassemble Marvel's Avengers from the 15th of May 2020.
Going back to dystopic, tech-heavy futures, that's very much the basis of intriguing FPS-RTS blend Disintegration, which takes place in a future where human minds have been placed in robot bodies to solve the Earth's resource crisis, only for this to be exploited by bad guys. Who could have seen that coming? Luckily, your robot body, you play a character called Roma, has a grav cycle, and all the game's action takes place from this elevated, hovering position while you direct your ground troops to move around the battlefield. It plays a little like a hero shooter with extra strategy elements, and aside from the story campaign, the multiplayer looks like it will have legs, just not on the ground.
Tech-heavy open-world blockbuster Watch Dogs returns in 2020 in the form of Legion, a much-revised take on the hacking series that's set in a dystopic, not that near-future version of our very own London. While an authoritarian regime uses a surveillance system to control the population, it's down to you to help the dead-set resistance movement disrupt and resist the authorities. And you here means, potentially, everybody. Player control shifts between different civilians. Anyone can be part of the resistance, who can all be recruited to the player's roster, taking on different classes, specialities, and affecting the game in different ways.
Following the success of asymmetrical horror Friday the 13th, developer Ilphonic is back in 2020 with Predator Hunting Grounds, another take on the one versus many formula based on the original Arnie blockbuster. The setup sees a team of human soldiers, up to 4 co-op players, undertaking missions against NPC militia, which are interrupted by the arrival of the Predator, a single player but with beefed up abilities like heat vision, invisibility, and big space guns. The replayable magic being that while one-on-one the soldiers stand no chance, efficient teamwork tips the odds in their favour. Predator Hunting Grounds is set for release on April the 20th.
Capcom's Resident Evil 2 remake was a huge access favourite in 2018, and the publisher hasn't left us waiting long for more, confirming the existence of a Resident Evil 3 remake and an April the 3rd release date during December's State of Play. Resi 3 sees Jill Valentine and Carlos Oliveira attempting to escape Raccoon City in a timeline that plays out alongside the events of Resi 2, with the pair solving puzzles, escaping zombies, and surviving several encounters with Nemesis, a near-invulnerable bioweapon programmed to destroy the STARS team. Good luck!
Continuing the superhero theme, Marvel's Iron Man VR is just a really good idea. Play as Tony Stark with his suits flying and fighting and heads-up display within the immersive space of PlayStation VR. A perfect marriage of tech and concept with a story to match. Set away into the Iron Man era with Stark's arms-dealing days behind him, the game sees Stark confronted by Ghost, a figure from his darker past using his own own repurposed tech to remind him of his past sins.
What a time to be a JRPG fan. Trials of Mana hits PS4 this year, a from-the-ground-up remake of the 90s classic and a spiritual successor to Secret of Mana, which we all enjoyed in 2018. Seriously, JRPGs, you are spoiling us. Trials looks absolutely gorgeous. A vivid, colourful art palette gives the game a joyful vibrancy, while the faithful recreation of both the characters and the classic battle system is sure to be a hit with fans. Brilliantly, you don't need any prior knowledge of the series to enjoy Trials of Mana either, so everyone should be looking forward to its release on April the 24th.
I can't quite believe I'm typing this, but by the time you watch this video, Final Fantasy VII Remake will be less than 3 months from release. The 3rd of March is the date humanity's heart collectively skips a beat, and this iconic gang of beloved characters return to our lives looking better than ever. Cloud, Aerith, Tifa and Barrett look like something out of a dream. With the grimy steampunk metropolis of Midgar, an imposing, characterful setting we can't wait to dive into. This is everything we wished for, a reimagining of my personal game of forever, expanding the story, recreating memorable moments, a battle system that feels both modern and also evocative of the original ATB system we loved back in 1997, an incredible score that elevates the original soundtrack with epic orchestral grandeur. Give it to me now, Square Enix. I am ready.
If you're an Overwatch fan, you'll know that we've been begging for a story mode pretty much since the game launched. So imagine the sheer joy of Blizzard announcing they've gone one better and made Overwatch 2. While we don't have all the details just yet, Papa Jeff has already promised us 3 of the biggest things we've been asking for: PvE story missions, an update to the Overwatch storyline, and lots more heroes. We also know that the game will look and feel better than ever before, with makeovers and new abilities for existing heroes, intro and outro cinematics, and huge new maps that are set to be twice the size we're used to. Interestingly, Blizzard has also confirmed that there will be some gameplay crossover with the original Overwatch, with players from both games competing side by side in multiplayer. Frankly, I'm more excited than a Hanzo main destroying a perfect team comp.
Wasteland 3 feels like a brilliant resurrected thing from the past, an immersive old-school RPG with deep tactical combat and an even deeper post-apocalyptic storyline. It's set in the frozen wilds of Colorado decades into the future, a wild authoritarian place run by the patrician and his family, through which your ranger, the last surviving member of Team November, will try to eke out a living and mete out some justice. There's tons here to be excited by. Drop in and out campaign co-op, branching dialogue using the fantastic system from Torment Tides of Numenera, the addition of vehicles and the return of the ranger base, and above all, a developer focused on delivering what its community wants from the game. Wasteland 3 is set for release on May the 19th, 2020.
The Tom Clancy universe is getting a new addition next year in the form of Rainbow Six Quarantine. As you probably guessed, it's part of the Rainbow Six franchise and came to life after the brilliant Outbreak event in Siege last year. Borrowing operators from R6, Quarantine will be a 3-player tactical co-op shooter, with players squadding up to defeat an invasion of mutated alien parasites. You know, just another day at the office. And since the team have deliberately mentioned that the parasites can infect your surroundings, you can bet we'll be seeing plenty of the environmental destruction we've come to know and love. Shotgun thermite, please.
What a decade it's been for the Yakuza series, Sega's epic open-world crime saga, winning over a generation of fans thanks to an involving story and wonderfully over-the-top gameplay. Yakuza Like a Dragon, heading to PS4 in 2020, is treading new ground for the series, thrusting new protagonist Ichiban Kasuga into the limelight. If by limelight you mean 18 years in prison for a family that then abandons and betrays him as soon as he gets out. This is where Like a Dragon's story begins. Ichiban has hit rock bottom and will need your help navigating the criminal underworld of Yokohama, the Chinese mafia, the Yakuza, and his former friends, creating a melting pot of violence and corruption in a beautiful setting we've never before explored in the series. Yakuza Like a Dragon looks incredible, and we can't wait to dive in.
One of the most unique titles to land next year, on February 14th to be exact, is Dreams, the latest release from Media Molecule, who brought us Tearaway and Little Big Planet. It is essentially an incredibly powerful game creation engine, offering you the chance to truly unleash your creativity and build, well, almost anything. Whether you're an artist, musician, or level designer, Dreams has pro-level tools to help you create your masterpiece. If you're a beginner though, or just want to experiment, don't worry. There's a brilliantly comprehensive tutorial that'll show you exactly how to get started. Of course, if you'd rather play games than make them, you can simply enjoy the breathtaking array of incredible levels designed by the Dreams community. The possibilities are, quite literally, endless. Whether you want to shoot through space or parkour around a platformer, someone will have made exactly what you're looking for. And that does it for our list of 20 PlayStation games you absolutely must play in 2020. Bear in mind that all release dates we've mentioned are subject to change, but let us know which of these you're most excited for in the comments, or if there are any you think we've missed. And of course, leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe so you don't miss anything from the world of PlayStation.
For the players.